What's going on, everybody? We're into May now, well on to being halfway through 2023 already. To some, that might be exciting, to some, it might be scaring. I just say it is what it is. Anyways, something I wanted to talk about this time: alcoholism and codependency. What is it exactly? Are you codependent? Are they codependent, etc.? It used to actually get used a lot, but by a different term. So if anybody's an aged recovering alcoholic or family member of one, you might recognize this. So as alcoholism progresses, individuals begin to blur lines between healthy and codependent behaviors. Learning signs of alcoholic codependency can help an addicted person get the appropriate substance abuse treatment they need. Codependency and alcoholism are terms that are often used together when relationships between people become toxic or dysfunctional, but I mean it's all toxic, right? Individuals who suffer from severe AUDs or alcohol use disorders are sometimes referred to as alcoholics. Obviously, that's what we're talking about is alcoholism, right? Yeah. Codependency versus a co-alcoholic. Decades ago, for all of you oldies out there, all of you boomers, I guess, as the kids call us these days, the term co-alcoholic was used to describe people in a relationship with alcoholics. That shifted in the 60s and 70s and became codependent rather than co-alcoholic. For some time, it was assumed that this type of relationship was unique to alcoholics and their families or partners. Over time, it was realized that codependent people could be the result of a number of different dysfunctional circumstances. So you don't have to be with an alcoholic to be codependent. An alcoholic can have a relationship with anybody that can become codependent. An overview of codependency, described as learned behaviors that makes a person's self-esteem, mental health, and emotional needs dependent on the other person in the relationship. Codependency affects one's abilities to have a healthy relationship. Individuals in codependent relationships also have issues with boundaries. Manifests in many ways. Research suggests that children who grow up in dysfunctional households are at risk for developing codependency relationships later as they get older. When a family doesn't confront or acknowledge these dysfunctional issues, it can make other family members detach themselves emotionally and sacrifice their own needs. Someone experiencing these situations may find themselves struggling with unhealthy behaviors and is at risk of becoming a codependent person. Characteristics of codependencies. There's multiple signs: inability to communicate, feeling guilty while they assert themselves, having a hard time adapting to change, feeling the need to control others or things around them, inability to set boundaries, low sense of self-worth, enabling people around them, especially the person with the addiction, strong need for approval, feeling responsible for others' actions, taking more responsibility than needed, difficulty trusting, trouble with intimacy, inability to make decisions, fear of being alone, struggle with describing feelings or emotions, issues with anger, self esteem, feeling the need to please everyone around them, issues with anxiety. So, yeah, as somebody who was married to an alcoholic for years, I can say that you can definitely experience a lot of those yourself, but I would only add that it is my personal experience that the alcoholic probably feels all of those, if not most of them. These symptoms of codependency significantly affect a person's life and their ability to have a healthy relationship. Are alcoholics codependent? As the term shifted from co-alcoholic to codependent, another term was developed: counter-dependent. This term, counter-dependent, was used to describe the addicts or alcoholics that were in relationships with someone who was codependent. These individuals were seen as more aggressive and controlling than their codependent counterparts. So the alcoholic is codependent on the other person. They call that counter-dependent, and it makes them aggressive, probably angry, and etc. Tries to make them control their codependent counterparts. This term was absorbed by the term codependent. These two types of individuals shared a history of unhealthy relationships and trauma. By explanation, it makes sense that an alcoholic can be codependent, and that this is not a term reserved for people in a relationship with an alcoholic. Many people with alcohol addiction exhibit signs of low self-esteem or may feel like they themselves when may not feel like themselves when they aren't drinking. And that could be the case. Any extended break after detox, 30 days, 60 days, they can feel like they're getting they're confused maybe because it doesn't feel like who they are because they haven't been sober in so long. Treatment for codependence. When a loved one is showing the signs of codependency, doesn't seem to be participating in self-care, and is putting their own needs beneath their significant other's needs, there may be cause for concern. Thankfully, there's professional treatment available for alcoholics, codependents, and codependent alcoholics. Support groups like Al-Anon, which is like instead of your AA, it's like, it's for the family members of those who are with people, or somebody, or your best friend, or your mother, father, sister, brother, not your spouse though, is an alcoholic. They go to AA, you go to Al-Anon. Can help you understand your role in a relationship. For a loved one in need of alcohol abuse and addiction treatment, there are outpatient and inpatient programs. I've talked about that in my other videos. So you've got your rehab, you've got your little safe houses, whatever you want to call them, detox parlors, etc. They involve therapy that help identify and create boundaries and how to develop a better relationship with a codependent partner. They can't discuss treatment options to you. You have to reach out for them. So the only thing I would argue in favor against the alcoholic in the situation is that from my experience, again, this is anecdotal information, but from my experience, the alcoholic creates a codependent partner when that partner becomes the alcoholic's enabler, right? So if that person decides they're going to keep drinking and put the needs of alcohol, or really any addiction for that matter, alcohol, narcotics, whatever it is, but if they're going to put the need or the want for that addiction above everything else, bills, intimacy, friends, family, kids, all of it, then in my experience, it is them creating people being counter dependent because you are relying on that behavior. You're expecting a certain reaction once they start drinking. You understand what I'm saying? So it makes it a tough and sticky situation because once they are no longer drinking, they might not exhibit the signs of codependency that you're used to as the family member. It's something that has to be worked out, and that's what Al-Anon is for. I went to a couple. I particularly didn't really like it, but I didn't like AA either. Probably just because I wasn't an alcoholic, but it didn't do anything for my partner either. So there's that. But none of this alters the fact, right here on the right side of the screen, confidential 24/7 support. You fill out this form, right? How can we help? Also, there's a phone number that you can call, and in all of my other videos, there's also links to phone numbers that you can call. Get help. You deserve it. Everybody does. It's Friday, TGIF. It's the weekend. Stay blessed, everyone.